Okay, I am not going through YouTube and doing a live video this morning just because I'm able to grab the information that I need a lot quicker, and that little block, which I can't figure out how to get rid of me in the picture, was actually covering up some of my trade amounts, so that's not very helpful. And the other thing is I can throw in a window easier to cover up my private information on this screen, so it's safer for me. So I am doing this exactly the same way. This is a real trading day, and I'm going to not edit it very much, so I will just try to keep it smooth and get through it as quickly as possible. And again, mostly this is just for my journaling purposes. If you can get any information from this at all, educational and helpful, then great, that's awesome. My main purpose in doing this is to track my trading and to help keep me accountable. So just to reiterate that. Okay, today, June 1st, 2026, I am renewing. I just reset my Blue Sky evaluation. I'd gotten up to the buffer account. I'd passed the first phase, and I've been struggling with passing the second phase. So one thing I kind of realized is I kind of have rules that I follow, but they're not really clearly defined and set in stone. So I got a little bit more organized finally, wrote them down, and this is the trading rules that I've come up with. So I don't want to make more than 10 trades. I will stop after that, if I get to that point. $900 max profit for the day, or max $300 loss, or if I've had a loss the previous day, I'm going to try to not lose more than half of my previous day's gains. Excuse me, I said that wrong. If I've made a gain, I don't want to lose more than half of that, because that's the only way to build up your profit, your balance account in your account, is to not lose what you made the previous day, obviously. All right, so, and also the amount of trades, if I've made more loss trades than gains, and 0 would be considered a gain because I get out at break even, and that's a good thing sometimes. All right, I'm aiming for a 1 to 2 risk to reward or better. There have been a couple times in the past where I've done a 1-to-1 just because I was pretty certain there was a high probability of it going the way I wanted it to go. So again, that's not 100% set in stone, but that is really the ideal. I always want to have a stop in place at some point, so that's really important. And these are the hours that I want to trade between. And again, it's not exactly set in stone, except for I want to stop before the opening bell, just because it just goes crazy sometimes. So, it's a little bit of a minute or two is different. Different is just fine. But anyway, this is the basic goal. And, what's weird in trading is one thing that I heard that really resonated with me is, oddly enough, the goal is not to make money in trading, but to protect the downside. You don't want to lose money. So if you have that mentality of protecting that downside, then eventually, and you follow these rules, eventually you'll build up your account. I do believe that. I've seen that in myself. So anyway, I think this is good to have this all written down. But anyway. All right, so for the day's trading, we're starting at the 1 hour chart. And again, we're very uptrending, way above the 180 SMA on the 1 hour chart, which is our ultimate support level. And we're looking at a pretty high point. It's made even a higher high overnight. Around maybe 7 o'clock this morning, it hit a new high. So it's not a very good time to be trading, honestly, because we like to get in longs, which is with the trend, when it's low. So, we want to just be conservative and look for smaller moves. All right, I've decided that I wanted to get into a short. It just seems to be losing momentum right through here, and I want to wait till it gets up to these SMA clusters right through here. So I put in an alert right through there. This is just a 5-minute chart. All right, Went to the 1 minute chart, and it didn't quite reach that point, as you can see, and it started to form a very strong red candle, which then continued, and it just shocked me. I hadn't quite finished my analyzing yet, so I missed out on the move, but holy cow, it dropped right to where I said it was going to go, and kind of changed all of a sudden my analyzing for the morning because of that strong move. So I went out to the 30-minute chart because I thought, well, if it's going to continue to drop, and it did, you can see it went through that SMA at that point, and it continued to drop. It's like, okay, where is it going to stop? And then what are we going to do about it? So the 30-minute chart gave me kind of an interim support level right here, because you can see the 1 hour one is way down here yet. The other thing we're looking at here is this is kind of a consolidation point. There's a lot of orders right through here, and we're now at the lower end of that. So we might already have found support right through there, but if it does break down lower, this is probably where it's going to go. All right, so that being said, went back to the 1 minute chart, and it looks like it's already forming a recovery move, and it's 9:15. So I decided to get into a long at this point, and I think it'll pretty easily get up to this. It might stagnate at the 180 minute or the 180 SMA on the 15-minute. We'll see. Now my stop is set because of the dollar amount, I believe, but I did raise it up and lock in some profits as it started to go up, and you can see that the wick went up to the SMA and then kind of backed off from it again. And it started to form a little bit of a red candle, so I lowered my limit. I kind of thought, well, maybe that's the resistance level that it's finding now. So I've sandwiched it. I'm going to make a profit, whether it be 100 or 200, we'll have to just see. The MACD is looking good, so that's all good. Though the RSI, it does look like it's losing momentum, which is kind of what we can see. So it dropped down, stopped out, and I ended up making 108. So that was a great first trade. It was conservative. It was exactly what it should have been. So I played that one well. All right. And it did end up going to the 180 and stagnating, which I talked about earlier. And I kind of realized I'm fighting a headache, and I was pretty hungry, so I took a little bit of a break, grabbed me a bowl of cereal, and kind of realized, oh, it's getting pretty late. It's almost the opening bell. So when I came back, I decided at that point already that I was not going to be trading anymore until after 9:45. I'm gonna try to grab that window of time between 9:45 and 10:30, 10:30. So I thought, well, I'll just make some predictions and see if I can figure out where it's going. All right, so I decided it was almost certainly going to drop down to this point right through here. Now again, I went out to the 1 hour chart here, so this is pretty macro view again. All right, we might have a bunch of little zigzags in the meantime on the shorter term chart, but for the day, I think it's probably going to be dropping down to 75.66. That was my prediction for the day. All right, and it might even drop down further because that was a pretty tremendous drop. So it might even get down to 75.30-ish, 32, something like that. All right, so on the 1 minute chart though, we can see it dropped, made a recovery but not too high, made another drop, and I think we're looking at possibly another recovery. And this is 6 points between here and there, so actually that is a decent trade. And it could actually even get all the way up to here, again, from where we kind of started before that big drop. Often we'll do that. All right, almost the opening bell. Okay, so it trickled up and incredibly slow right after the opening bell. This is a very conservative bunch of candles that it's making, which kind of surprised me. The big move that I usually see after the opening bell looks something more like this. So that's interesting. but it is heading up. So even though it's slow, so that probably tells us too, in hindsight, I'm kind of seeing that shows not a lot of excitement for going up, more for the bears winning. So at any rate, 5-minute chart here. And with that last chart, let me go back it one more time. This is the 1-minute chart. We can see that the 1-minute MACD right through here looks like it's starting to lose momentum and drop, right? But when you go to the 5-minute chart, it's just now turning and heading up. So it's like, well, I think maybe we're going to have a little bit more of an upward movement here. So I got into a long, and yes, this is right at a resistance level. It's very iffy. If it does break through that, I do think it's going to go up fairly quickly. I have a pretty tight stop here, and I raised it up just a little bit more, so it's even tighter. It's at a $150 stop right there, so that's reasonable. And honestly, if it did drop below that, there's no way I'd want to be in anyway. And I do think the potential for it to get up to here is pretty good. So just waiting out. At one point, I got it up to $100 profit. This is a 15-minute chart. It's looking very promising for getting up to that point. It's a conservative area, but a huge amount of money for me. All right, it's looking decent. And then it started to drop again. And this little bit of news popped up. So there is a PMI that came out, so that might be part of what's affecting it. And then it dropped a little bit more, and I got stopped out. But you can see it hasn't dropped a whole lot more. And then it formed a wick. So I decided that it might still be going up. As a matter of fact, it's now gone above the SMA right through here. So it's looking still pretty good for it going up, even though the MACD looks like it's losing momentum. Remember that 5 and 15-minute chart might pull it through. So I got into another long, and this will be my third trade. I've had one good trade, one bad trade, so this could tell the tale whether I'm done trading for the day. I realized that before I got into it. Okay, so I'm hoping it get up to there, and my stop is very tight. It's at a just over $100 loss. Okay, it went up, formed a wick. Again, I could have gotten out, but I played it a little bit different, and it dropped and stopped me out. So that was the third trade. It was bad. So according to my rules, I need to stop. I'm at a $213 loss. And here is the chart on the Trade08 platform, which has all this information. It's pretty cool. About all my trades. So here's the 3 trades that I made. The one bad thing that I'd forgotten to write down that I kind of aim for is I like my biggest loss to be smaller than my biggest gain. So clearly that didn't happen, which is another reason to stop. It's just kind of a goal that I have, obviously. You can see that I've had more losing trades than winning trades, obviously. And so that's another reason to stop. This is how many profit versus losing trades I've had with the bottom line here, not including the commissions of like $13, I think it was. Because altogether I've lost 213. So I'm stopping for the day, and you know, it's unfortunate that the first day was a loss, but I think it's more important that I protect that downside and stop before I've lost too much. Because clearly, for whatever reason, not making good decisions today. I don't know if it's the market or if it's me, but either way, this is not a good day for trading for me. So there we are. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow.